Hey ho out there, YouTubers. Hey, we're going to call today, which is February 5th. We're going to see if we can call our answer machine, human answer machines over at Brad Wimpystrip's office. Brad Winstrip, my representative, our representative here in the southern part of Ohio, District 2. And as we already know, we never talk to directly anyway to your representative. They're much too busy for us, even though we have uh, uh, a very historic tragedy unfolding right now. They are trying to snuff, especially if you are a white male. They're trying to snuff us out. And so far, they're doing a pretty good job of it. Because did you ever think that we would be here in America and not even have a border? There's no border, and they are weakening your worth, my worth as an American. If you're an American, period, you're being assaulted right now. I mean, they are absolutely dead set on eliminating Americans. Now, why are they directly focused on white males, especially, or just white people in general? It's because that's the majority. And if you watch, you'll see where Joe Biden, even before he was this China put in, which still blows my mind how we Americans, wasn't paying attention enough and didn't stand up enough to make sure this didn't happen to begin with. But that's hindsight. Right now, what we got to do is we got to focus on the tragedy right now that's happening with. There's human beings that's dying, and it doesn't matter what color they are or where they come from. It doesn't make any difference. If somebody's alone and they have pain, and that's a real human being. Nobody wants that. And so, by us having borders, I mean, that's why you say there's strength in power, is because if you go up against, 10 guns and you don't even have a gun, you're not even going to think about walking up on something like that, well, in a vicious way, especially. But when you have a border like that, it keeps everybody where they belong, and if you have a problem in that country, then do what my ancestors had to do here in America or any other country. Look what they're doing over right now in other countries and stuff. The farmers are they're parked right at, what is that, the UN, where they are right there at the main office or whatever. Thanks, Gnome. Just give me a head shake yes on it or whatever, because there's so much stuff going on right now. How do you keep all this stuff, straight? But the number one thing that you better have straight right now is they want you eliminated. They want you eliminated. Why else do you say in the future you'll own nothing and you'll be happy? So what about them? And when I'm saying them, who are them? You're talking about Bill Gates, George Soros, BlackRock, Oprah Winfrey, Dwayne Johnson. I mean, not that he's really a major player, whatever, but he's in there. I mean, he come out and asked the poor people that are struggling right now to survive, and asked them to donate whatever money that they got trying to pay their bills to help over there in Hawaii and stuff like that. It just is absolutely ludicrous. I think there's a lot of them that truly are ignorant, but it doesn't make any difference if they're ignorant or not. It's their place, just like it's our place, to learn and to get the knowledge about what is truly going on here. There is a big plan. There's a big plan. The name of a documentary that I want you to look at, or a short film or whatever, is Muckrakers. And what is the brother's name? You guys remember?
Anthony and Josh Rubin.
Yeah, Anthony and Josh Rubin. So the Rubin brothers, but they actually go down and they make the trip from, like all the invaders, migrants are doing. They went down and come all the way through the jungle part of it that they had to go through, and then like at every leg till you get into the United States, and even afterwards. There's places to stop. You get fed, you get water, you get clothing, you get instructions, new clothes, whatever you need. And then you just keep until they get up here into our country. And once they get in our country, they're promptly handed $3,000. And they're given accommodations and everything else, Now, right now, you'll hear a little bit of bickering, like in New York and stuff, where, certain places are full and they're overrun or something like that. But they're not saying, hey, this got to stop, send them back out of the country. No. What they're doing is they're just saying, let's give them a free ticket and send them over to California or to Florida or wherever it is. These... what is it? Sanctuary cities? Is that what they're calling them? Anyway, where they're accepting all these migrants and stuff like that, which I know for a fact one of them in Florida is Miami, of all places. One beautiful place, Miami, and it's over. Go to New York. New York is just overrun with the trash and stuff like that. California. But, they have cities like this in Michigan and just about everywhere. So, but anyway, we're getting ready to call Brad Wimpy Strip here. And I think I got to push in the number here again. Let me see. No, I think this is it. So, again, this is February 4th, 5th. Thank you, Amy. And we're going to see if we can get one of the... human answer machines on here, because I don't. Hello?
Please say the name of the United States Senator or Representative that you are trying to reach, or say I'm not sure.
Brad Winstrip.
Connecting you to the Office of Representative.
Brad Winstrip.
Dialing.
Congressman Winstrip's office, how can I be of assistance?
Hey, is that my old buddy Chris?
No, this is Charles, sir.
Or Charles? Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, Mr. Charles. Yeah. Hey, 3 guesses who this is.
I imagine it's Mr. Preston.
You're right. It is. Hey, I'm sitting here, and I have there's a few of us. And we're calling in because we're wanting to see where our update is. Like, have we gotten a hold of Mr. Winstrip? Has he gotten a hold of DeWine yet?
Yes, sir. So he's still working on your letter, but he was able to provide a little bit of feedback from what he got from the governor in his office. If you'd like, the letter obviously will still come, so you have physical proof. But I can at least provide you a bit of what they were able to give us.
Yeah, please do.
As in terms of like an update of what at this moment they're able to do. So, as you know, obviously the governor has put out statements of support. I think you're the one that was kind enough to help point that out for us, if I'm correct in that.
Point out what?
That the governor had put out like tweets of support, like on Twitter. Had talked about how he is proud to stand with Texas, and had been talking about what they have done, which primarily involves the sending of National Guard units since October of. I believe it was 2020. I don't have the email pulled up, but I can do that. They've had National Guard units stationed down there in support of like ongoing border operations. And then I believe the governor also was able to point out for us that he has sent Highway Patrol to assist local law enforcement because National Guard works kind of with DHS and other National Guard units, which, as you've probably seen, do a lot of good work, but sometimes the feds will kind of direct them in what to do, but by sending Highway Patrol, it's kind of working with the local officers, and how the local police down there are trying to do a lot more than maybe what the feds are doing. So Governor DeWine had sent Highway Patrol down there to assist in that effort. And I believe they're planning on re-upping National Guard units for this year as well. Obviously, they just have to wait for the current deployment to end and then, for them to be reauthorized to go back down. But I think that is the current plan as that they were able to share with us up to this date.
Okay, so to summarize that up, you're just saying that he is sending more down, or no?
I believe he will be. I think they're able to say they've provided over 450 to date.
450. All right.
Yeah, 450. I don't know what their current capacity is. I don't know if that's a lot or if that's a little. I'm not as familiar with the Ohio National Guard as one would hope.
Well, let me ask you this: how many is available?
That, sir, as I said, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what their force capability looks like.
Well, see, if I was talking to Brad there myself, then what I would be doing, which is what I have to assume that I'm doing, even though I have to go through answer machines like yourself, I still have to pretend like I'm talking directly to him. So when I'm asking a question, you take it directly to him. And are you guys wanting to know the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
trying to see if they have it on their website, maybe if they can tell us.
Well, because my point is, if they're not doing anything pressing, like investigating the FBI or one of these other weaponized three-lettered outfits that we have, I want them down at the border and creating.
Well, the question is this the same National Guard units that have been there since 2020? Or have we sent addition to what has already been there since 2020? Because if we're just going to reel them up, then that's the same thing that's been going on that's stopping nothing. If we're not going to send additional units since has been there since 2020, then, I mean, that's really not helping a whole lot.
Yeah, and we like to know what their role is that they're actually doing when they're there,
Yeah, so they weren't able to provide kind of the future plans because, the National Guard is a militia, right? They have to essentially mobilize some of their forces every time they want to send them somewhere. So I think I found a number. I think it's 17,000 who are a part of it, but I don't think that is representative of the current number on, active duty, right? It is a militia. It is primarily in reserve mode unless it gets activated. In terms of the question of if they're doing more, I don't think they were able to provide that. I don't think they would want to, say something about a future plan unless they were certain of it, just because they know that we were going to relay it to you, Mr. President, and anybody else who called. But that is what they were able to tell us was they've had a continuous presence. The governor is continuing to support Texas, is willing to commit, state troopers and what is available to Texas and their sort of efforts to rein in this ongoing mess.
Okay, so we have another pressing problem that we need addressed immediately, and it should have already been done. It should have never even happened. But what are we doing about China being here as a police presence for China? We're not talking about United States police, good police, if there's such thing. But we're talking about China. Like China has their plainclothes policemen here that the even some of our legitimate Americans that are from China are worried and concerned about. You can talk to them, and we already know. Like if you watch Muckraker, you can see where the brothers actually talk to a genuine Chinaman who is coming and trying to get into the United States. And they have to blur out his face and stuff, obviously, because he don't want it to be known. But they asked him point blank, are you worried about China police officers in the United States when you go? And he said, oh yeah. And they asked him, they said, well, do you know for a fact that they're there? And he said, oh yeah, they're really there. And we already know they're here because they was so bold and in our face. And I'm not talking about in anybody's face except for true blue, red, white, and blue Americans such as you and I and all of us sitting right here. They are just blatantly in our face putting up police stations, actually police stations. I mean, you talk about the gall.
Oh yeah, it's worse. I mean, they're setting up their Confucius Institutes and universities that are doing the same thing. They don't call them, police stations. They're supposed to be educational institutes to, quote, foster better understanding between the U.S. and China. But, evidence has shown all they're doing is policing students, making sure that if they break a Chinese law here, their families or themselves are punished when they go back. This is an endemic issue that's beyond just the police stations you're talking about. They've found a way to infiltrate universities. You have the farmland issue, right? In terms of those police stations, I know the Department of Justice is starting to arrest some individuals. Back in April, 6 were arrested. Back in May, 2 more. So there is a crackdown, but I think you're starting to get at the point of how this is even allowed to begin with, right? Why was this allowed to happen? And I think it's just kind of indicative of a failure of the administration to really be confrontational with China, because China will just find a way to lie, find a way to cheat, find a way to enact its aims, and here we are trying to play, patty cake in a way with a regime that is very intent on, enacting its aims regardless of U.S. security.
Is Brad in contact with Governor DeWine on a daily basis? I mean, how often are these guys discussing and I mean, how serious are they about protecting not just Ohio but United States? I mean, are they serious about this? I mean, are they? One of the things that I want to know, they're not taking off on the weekends, are they? Because what I want to do, and I'm speaking for all of us sitting here and the other ones that are waiting to see how this turns out and stuff, because they've got they're waiting. But we didn't want to have a bunch of people on the phone at one time, so I'm to inform them as soon as we get done here. But what are we doing to actually, like we the weekends, there shouldn't be any weekends right now. I mean, you all should be working straight 7 days a week as long as this invasion is here, and it's been here. And we're not talking about it's a minor thing. This is a major thing, because see, every time that I'm dealing with quote unquote my government, the very people that's supposed to be protecting us and stuff, everybody sitting here and the ones waiting, we don't feel like that whenever we encounter any government agency or official or anybody, like that they're truly working for us. That's a problem, because in fact that they do. That's what this country is for, and that's why that we have our Constitution and the God-given unalienable rights that were given to us. We feel like that you guys are not really respecting and taking care of. And not only do we not feel that way, but we know it to be true, because COVID should have never ever came in. It should have never ever been created, and we sure as hell should have never ever funded it. But we allowed for this Dr. Kevorkian Fauci dude to do that very thing, and he was one of the he's the highest paid person in our government, or was for the longest time, and he's thinking that he's going to retire and everything. Just like, I want to know, like, is Brad Is he planning his retirement and stuff like that? And if so, where is he planning on retiring to? Because I know that he's not running again after this year, which is kind of weird to me. But we're not even to retirement. I want to know what he's doing right now to make sure that we, get all this straightened out and stuff, with China being here and the border being the way that it is. Like, what is he actually doing? Is he like taking away the weekends and stuff like that and saying, okay, everybody at the office here has to work 7 days a week until we get this straightened out? I mean, how committed to the American people is he?
Yeah. So you had a multi-part there, so I'm going to kind of go through point by point, so I might need a second. But to start, yeah, he did announce his retirement. I think for him, he felt 12 years by the end of it is, long enough, and he has young kids, and I think for him, he wanted to see them grow up. But one of the big things he talked about, right, because when somebody says they're announcing retirement, usually the assumption is they kind of put their feet up, right, and just kind of coast, right?
It's kind of what he's been doing. Kind of like what he's been doing already. That's what he's been doing. And what does he think that all of us sitting right here, what does he think that we want? We want our kids, we want to watch our kids grow up and stuff. Do you know what drives me on a daily basis here? I have a 13-year-old. And absolutely the light of my life. God is first and foremost, and God sent him down here for me to take care of. So I'm in a country where I never ever thought that I would have to be worried about, not just at nighttime, but in the daytime and stuff. These invaders are coming up, but here's the thing. You know who the biggest damn invader is? The biggest invader that we have in this country is Joe Biden. Obama and Joe Biden, those are two of the biggest invaders that we've ever had. Because not only did they just invade our country, but they've invaded our freedom and our Constitution. Now, go ahead. He's going to put his feet up and relax, he said. He's going to enjoy his kids.
No, sir. I was saying that usually that is the assumption, but when he was making a statement, he said he makes it very clear he's going to run kind of through the tape, right? He's going to finish it out, right? And yeah, maybe some people may disagree with his decision to retire right now, right? But I think there's also that big push of he's also been around for 12 years. Maybe it's time for, somebody else to pick up that torch, right? One of the big pushes here is...
Oh, was he carrying a torch? Because if he's carrying a torch, I'm unaware that he was carrying it. Because, see, let me tell you something. Every one of them, and I've told you this before, and I'll say it again and again and again. He failed. So he's not retired yet. He still has an opportunity. We're still allowing him the opportunity to salvage and maybe correct everything in his 12 years or whatever so far, and actually do something that's meaningful and important. He's not retired. He has the time, and that's the way that we all feel. They need to do something, because, see, if he passed a bill or if he helped do that, I mean, I don't know what all his big accomplishments. Say the word for me.
Accomplishments.
Yeah. That is absolutely moot compared to what we need now, which is to save our country and us. I mean, we literally have a war against us, and there are people that's trying to crush us out. Even the Red Cross is involved. The Red Cross, if you watch Muckraker, you'll see where Red Cross is actually telling these poor people, I mean, these are human lives. I mean, they're ignorant. I mean, they don't really understand, other than, hey, if you get to the United States, you'll get a bunch of money and benefits. So, you see what I mean? We just absolutely, we gotta have Brad on board here to understand that I'm sitting here, I'm telling you, I can tell my blood pressure is way the hell up. It stays up anymore because of this. This is ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about murdering children. You're talking about raping children, human trafficking, not on a small scale. And you know what? Why is the cartels getting super rich off of this? How does this happen that you do something and set up to where? And who is the cartel? Wouldn't you like to know? I'd sure like to know, because I'll bet you.
Agents.
Say it again. I'm sorry, Charles.
Usually Chinese agents. They do the work of, China.
You know, that's really good. That's exactly my point. If you follow the money back around to where it goes to, like you may see the immigrants or the invaders, all of the above, handing over money at some point in time, and then that gets put in whoever's hand, but then that hand takes it to somebody and delivers it to somebody, and then so on and so forth till it gets where? You're absolutely right, back in China's hand. So Mark Cuban, which is another China plant, he works for all of them. He's one of them too. He's just as guilty as any cartel ever thought about, because he said that he had no problems whatsoever doing business with China, and he protects them at every cost. But we have to get Brad after this. I mean, why are we taking weekends off, Charles? I mean, why are we doing that? We the people are asking Brad, why is he allowing that office to close? Because tell him that if there's nobody crossing our borders down there that I have to worry about, then he can take the weekends off. But only after he gets the ones that's already here out of here. So even if they turn that faucet off down there, it's not a faucet. That's Niagara Falls down there. I mean, these people are coming in like crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. But the mainstream media is absolutely not showing nobody this kind of stuff. So,
Are you familiar with, I think his name is Jorge Ventura?
yeah, go ahead. What about him?
He actually does really good. Yeah, Jorge Ventura Media. He's like an independent journalist. Or he's with News Nation. I remember when he started out kind of independent. He was down there, still is down there, honestly, just constantly filming, right, and just calling out the lines of just people waiting to get in, right? Remember back at Eagle Pass when they had that whole windy kind of Disneyland type of netting kind of set up to have people just wait, and there was just tens of thousands waiting to get across. He was just down there videotaping it, putting it out there for people to see, because people just weren't acknowledging it. Actually, yeah, he's still down there. He spends most of his time down at Eagle Pass.
Yeah, well, there's JLR Investigations. I watch him a lot too, and he does the same thing as what you're talking about. Here's the thing: we don't really need to know that they're coming in. We know that. The thing that we need, the most pressing thing.
The president doesn't seem to, but
I know. You know what? Good for you. That's a very good point. But here, well, wait a minute. Who did you say? The president? No, Trump. Yeah. No, Trump knows about them. But if you're talking,
I guess Biden then is unaware or ignoring.
Yeah, the China put in. That's what he is. Look, again, real quick, just on the machines and stuff like that. Again, they said that the Dominion machines wasn't online. We know that's all garbage now. That's all. And isn't it something how everybody stopped, saying, oh, no, they're not online. The demon rats and stuff like that. No, nobody's challenging that now, because we've done proved that was all a lie, and that, in fact, they are online. But now look at Georgia, that's actually going to do paper ballots. They're kicking out Dominion machines and stuff like that. I cannot wait until the Lord puts all this right again in this country and in this world. because there's so many people that absolutely needs to pay for what they've done to human beings all across the world. It's not just here in America. America is the one thorn that's under the saddle of the rest of these corrupt, evil bastards that's doing this to the human race. If you want to talk about it's a racist thing, it is a racist thing. It's the human race that they're against. Because they don't discriminate. They don't really care about skin color. They're just making it a skin color thing, or trying to. But we're way too smart to fall for that. Everybody can see right through that scam. But this is a race thing for sure. The human race is who they hate. If you are a common person, they want you gone. So this common person and the two sitting here and the other one's waiting to hear want you to pass along the message that we don't want our office to be closed on the weekends. We want you guys to be in there and working. I mean, if we're going to be squandering billions of dollars on this bill that got killed on arrival that they just tried to pass and let now they're saying, well, let's just let 5,000 in a day. Well, if you do the math on that, what's that add up to? Wasn't it like 1.8 million a year, even at that?
It's even worse. It's the president can suspend that, quote, shutdown authority for 45 days if he deems it's in the national interest. There are loopholes everywhere with the supposed authorities. And obviously the secretary has no real interest in enforcing most laws on the books anyway. So, yeah, we got the text last night. We were going through it this morning. There's just a lot of problematic provisions in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're not kidding. A lot of but it's dead, and it should be dead. Thank goodness that Mike Johnson squashed that out, and the House, wasn't even going to entertain that bullshit, So
They kept telling the Senate right back, pass H.R. 2. That's
But-
the House's version. That's the House. That's what the House wants, the people's House.
Charles, we're not happy at all. By no means are we happy. We're not comfortable. We're not safe. We know we're not safe. It's not a feeling. We're not safe. To say I don't feel safe, that could be a maybe. I'm not saying maybe. Everybody sitting right here, everybody waiting, everybody I talk to, we're not safe. We know we're not safe. When you have Democrats now that's coming out, did you see where the rapper Killer Mike, I think it was, where he got arrested right after receiving 3 Grammys because he wouldn't support the China regime, Biden there? He was speaking. Did you see that?
No, I didn't actually realize the Grammys were on last night.
Well, me neither, because the only people watching the Grammys is people that still believes in Hollywood and all the evilness.
I stopped believing that in about 10 years ago.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I said I stopped believing that about 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
The movies came out that were terrible. It's just kind of like, what are they doing?
Absolutely. Well, and that's what we the people are asking now. It's like, what is our government doing? And that's who I'm speaking with right now, is our government. This is how we do this. Is there anything else that you can let me know that Brad might be working on that is like productive to making our country, our state safe?
Yeah. I know the big push right now is, I don't know if you're as aware of this issue, right? But a lot of our pharmaceutical drugs are made in China, or at least the ingredients, right? We rely heavily on China to get everyday goods that you or I may need in the future, or people around us need daily. And during COVID, when you saw the supply chains constrict, you saw a lot of that go missing. And the boss was thinking, why are we relying on a country that at any point, because of its authoritarian nature, can shut down exports to the United States? Like, why are we relying on them for life-saving drugs? So he's making a big push right now amongst his committee to ways and means to try to get us to reshore a lot of our pharmaceutical industry. It's small. I'm not gonna say it's small, right? It's kind of like a niche issue, but if you just think about the everyday drugs, 75% of those come from China, or their ingredients come from China, and it's set up for this. As you said, they're already infiltrating with police stations. They're infiltrating universities. At what point are they going to just infiltrate the pharmaceutical drug market and just start controlling what the United States is allowed to sell or even use if we don't go along with what they want? So he's making a big push within that realm because him being a doctor, that's kind of like his mindset and how he views things. He always also tells the story when he was over in Iraq, he came to realize that a lot of the things they use, like medical equipment, masks, gloves, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Now, just to clarify, real quick, Charles.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows that Brad Winstrip is a doctor, and he actually, when he was serving, he who was it that he wound up saving? What governor was that? He actually saved.
He saved Peter Scalise, Steve Scalise.
Yeah, Steve Scalise. Yes.
By that.
Yes.
I think it was like that crazy socialist.
Right.
That was trying to go after Republicans at a baseball practice before the congressional baseball game that summer. And then he happened to also be with some members when a train derailment occurred, and he was there to help triage that situation. Those are kind of the two most people think of and know of, let alone being head of surgery in Iraq for one of our military hospitals. But yeah, he just realized over time that China has infiltrated the pharmaceutical drug and medical goods markets, and that's just a dangerous thing to let them have control over. So he's kind of working on trying to get us independent of China.
Well, Charles, I'm going to interrupt you again. I'm a little shocked because I expect more out of you. You said that was kind of a niche thing, and
well, it's important.
Hold on. Let me finish. Because usually when I'm talking to you, you see the importance of things, and to call that a niche is not niche. I totally agree with what you're saying. I think that that is a extremely important thing. Anything that's got to do with China or anybody else that we're relying on like that is not niche. We better pay attention to all the little details and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that is a great thing that he is working on that. But you know what? We want to know that. We want to know that. So if that's one punch to the eye of China that we can do or whatever like that, those are the things that I want to definitely know about. And everybody's sitting here. So, yeah, we appreciate...
Do you get his newsletter, sir?
What's that?
Do you get his newsletter?
I do not. I was supposed to. I was supposed to get it, matter of fact. I'm glad you said that. They told me a while back that they would send it to me.
Well, I'll make sure that you start getting it, sir. That way every time China comes up or COVID comes up or anything he's doing, because he's had some big ones recently.
The biggest thing...
Fauci stuff, he had a huge newsletter on that one.
The biggest thing though right now, I mean, I'm glad that he's working on, the medication, because 1,000% agree with that. We shouldn't rely on China for anything. I mean, that's literally like somebody pointing a gun at you, and then asking them for a glass of water or something. It's like can you give me food and water and everything when they're getting ready to blow your face off? So yeah, it's absolutely insane. That's clearly our biggest enemy is China, and but I don't think it's just China. I mean, you got Iran, Iraq, and so on and so forth. I mean, it goes on and on. The list is mighty. And why is that? Because if America was so great and that we was doing, which it is great because of the true Americans, but stay with me just a minute here. But if America was so great and stuff, like we were supposed to have been the world sheriff, right? So have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the sheriff is supposed to work for the people. Okay, you're not supposed to be afraid of the sheriff, or any public servant, right? But why are we? I'll tell you why. Because, what's that?
I said, unless you're a criminal, I would hope those breaking the law are scared of the sheriff.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but there's another flip side of that coin. have you ever heard of Back the Blue Till It Happens to You?
No, I haven't heard.
All right, well, let me enlighten you. What that means is get on YouTube or anywhere or talk to some people. The people who have fortunately went along in life and they've never had no arrest or anything happen to them. And then one day, for whatever reason, they say, hey, I'm going to call the police because there's something happening to me. This guy is coming over to take a dog out of my yard, or this girl's coming into my yard to take a dog. True story.
True story.
Yep. So you call the peace officers who's supposed to work for, the people, and they show up, and instead of them going and talking to the person, the woman who stole the dog, took the dog, or tried to take the dog, they come up to the very ones that call and start trouble. They ask them for their ID. Then whenever they hand over their ID and stuff, because they're confused, they're like, what are you talking about? What? Okay, well, here's my ID. And then you give that to them, but then they go on and
And you're on your own property, no less.
Yep, and you're on your own property, and they treat you like that you're a criminal instead of doing their own job, and you keep asking them, well, can you just go and talk to the girl? Can you just go to... And they just stay there and keep badgering you until your patience is wore thin, and then they escalate it to the point where the person winds up in handcuffs and in a car in the dead heat of summer. We're talking 100-degree heat or better inside of a car, and they purposely turn the air conditioner off, then walk to the back of their car and start just acting like they're chit-chatting while the windows are up and everything with, well, let me see, who would that have been? Oh, yeah, that was me. And I was in the back of the cruiser, windows up. They turned the air conditioning off on purpose. And all this because we wanted them to come and just speak to the girl about staying on her own property and just not bothering us, And by the way, the dog was a little tiny Yorkie in our yard. Anyway, so I digress. So back to what I was saying, back the blue till it happens to you. If you haven't really encountered police, wait until you call them, because you'll think they're there to help you. They're not there to help you. They'll put you in torture cuffs so tight that it'll break your wrist or feel like it's breaking your wrist. Then they'll put you in a cruiser till where in the back seat, and they have the cage so close to you that you can't sit properly with your feet sticking out in front of you, like human beings got toes that goes out in front. You can't do that. You have to turn your feet, your knees and ankles and stuff, and turn your feet like this in order to even sit in that back seat. So again, back the blue till it happens to you. If you ain't ever been arrested or something, and there's another big issue, problem with this country, is they want you to have a record so that it's just easier and easier and easier on them in the future. If they want you to be a dancing monkey or something, they can say, well, you did this. Well, you was caught speeding or something, which is a victimless crime anyway. There's no crime there. But yet you can film the same ones speeding up and down the highway with no lights on or anything, themselves. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Back the blue till it happens to you. Yeah, the sheriffs and stuff, you shouldn't be afraid of them. But the people really don't trust the sheriffs. We really don't trust the police and stuff like that. Now, over in foreign countries and stuff, why don't they feel good about Americans? Because what did they ultimately do? If you talk to them, which we have, didn't we, Amy?
Yeah.
We have talked to people. Where was they from?
Turkey.
We talked to some people that was from Turkey. I mean, we talked to several people, but these in particular ones was from Turkey. And how did they feel about Americans?
I thought we were warmongers.
Thought we was warmongers.
That's the same with them Israelites that we talked to at the movies at one time.
Right. Yep. Israelis or whatever. Yep. If you talk to people, they say, "Oh, Americans, they're warmongers." And when we talked to them, they said, well, you guys aren't nothing like what we've heard. And I asked them, I said, do tell, what did you hear? Americans, we thought you guys just loved war, and that if somebody said anything or did anything against or whatever, that America, that, they would start a war with you just over the slightest thing. And they're told that we hate them, that we're enemies of them. Now, if those were true sheriffs or true people that was working for we the people, but do you see the point that I'm making, Charles?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, because, that should have never been there. And if these people were going over and have been and are going over there, and they're threatening these people, for no reason. And why are we over in all these countries and stuff? Why are we spending? Did you see the numbers they're throwing around nowadays? Billions, not just 1 or 2 billion. I mean, which is an insane number. But now, what was it? 22 billion? What was that we just seen?
Yeah.
That was just on one thing. And then there was another one that was 24 billion. And then the next one down was 400 million. And I thought, well, at least we're getting a break on that one. It's only 400 million. Insane numbers. And who's paying that? We are. We are paying that. It's crazy. It's out of control. It's got to stop. Something's got to change. So if we're spending that kind of money and stuff, then I want our offices to be open. I don't want anybody to be having a weekend off until all of these invaders are gone. I don't sleep well at night. Do you sleep well at night?
No.
What about you, Amy?
No.
Nobody's sleeping well at night. We're not safe. So pass that along to Brad and tell him that we want that office. Am I the only one saying this?
No.
You want the office open?
Yep.
What about you?
Yeah.
We all want the offices open. We want to be able to call in Saturday or Sunday or whenever it is until this is straightened out. Not only that, but we want them actually doing something. Has Brad been down to the border?
Yes, sir.
He has? When was the last time he was down there?
I thought it was maybe last year. I think it has been a little while.
Okay, well, now, in fairness, last year could be just, a month and a half ago. Because this is...
That's my thing. I don't exactly remember. I think it has been a little while, but he does make an effort to go down there more so than some of his other colleagues on the other side of the aisle.
Has he seen the dead bodies where they're drowning? They're making these invaders, the children and the women especially, like cross the river so that they drown, and then all of our attention is drawn to the drowning victims, which, thank the good Lord, we have some crazy good medical people, doctors, nurses, and stuff that revive these people most of the time. Not all the time. Most of the time they bring them back. But what a hell of a thing to have to go through. I'm sorry.
Did you see the Texas National Guard saving people?
Yeah. Well, oh, absolutely. And I'm glad that you said that, Charles, because it's everybody down there. It's all of whoever it is. I don't care who it is. If they're saving those people that's going through such a tragedy like that, seeing your own child, I mean, it's unimaginable. But that's why, when I say it's unimaginable, go down there and look. I can tell you this, I don't have to really be there in person to know that I would hate it, that if somebody busted in my door or just walked in my door or come in or whatever and just stuck a gun to my head and pulled the trigger, that it would hurt, it would be scary as all get out. Or if they come in and they hack my leg off or whatever, or heaven forbid, they would come in and torture one of your loved ones right in front of you. I don't want to get there. I just don't want to ever see that. I don't have to see that in person to know that I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure that doesn't happen. And can you believe, Charles, that we're having this conversation as Americans? Yeah. Well said. Well said. But it's not only depressing for us, but it's a scary thing to have to live. And here's the thing: I'm getting ready to let you enjoy the rest of your day working on whatever it is that you're working on. And whenever I get off the phone, my fear is not going to end. It's going to be there. But I'm going to tell you this last thing here before I do let you go. They wanted to figure out why it was that they couldn't crush America. They've been trying to stomp us out since the very beginning. There's a Russian, you can look this up, and they caught him, or he, no, let's see, he, what's it called whenever you leave and
Desertion?
yeah, he deserted and come over to America, and started being an informant. And he said, "Look, here's what Russia is trying to do. They said they're going to take your country without even firing a bullet and all that stuff." But he said that they couldn't figure out how to crush America until they discovered it was their faith in God. And that's what, once they figured out, they started putting a plan together. So we talk about China, but this was Russia. So it's not all a hoax. I mean, Russia did have this guy, and he told us, that they're setting this up. China and Russia, all of them, they don't just see it as in the next day or the next term. They do this in, what is it, century is 10 years?
Century's 100.
Okay,
Decades,
but decade. Over decades. Like the first decade, they want this to happen. Just like, Charles, do you know about the 2015 and the 2030 agenda?
2050 or 15?
Well, they have the 2015, they have the 2030, which is the one we're in now, and then they have the 2050, and then they have the last one, whatever that is. But up until 2015, they wanted to own so much of America. You'll have to look into it. And then right now, the 2030, which is the one that we're working on, they want to own 30%. Yeah, the 2015, they want 15% of America. And we're talking about China and Russia and all the other dirty pigs. But now we're on the 2030 where they're trying to obtain 30% of America. And they'll do that by taking like the national parks and so on and so forth, and making it so that you can't go to them. You can't go to these parks. They're completely off limits. It's insane. But anyway, look into that. I'm going to let you go, Mr. Charles. I really appreciate you. I really enjoy talking to you. You're my favorite answer machine that Brad Winstrup's got.
Oh, I appreciate it, sir. I try.
Hey, God bless you. Please find out some answers and stuff, and we'll be calling you back.
All right. Just to recap, because you were talking about a lot there, and I want to make sure I synthesized it correctly. You're wanting to know like the China stuff, right? Is that the general angle you were looking for?
All of it.
All of it. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can start finding some more answers for you on all of it.
Yeah, because we have, it's not just China. I mean, the Syrians and everything, and the ones that's on the, what's that list? The watch list? The terrorist watch list? They're not just watching for them to come here. They know that they're already here. And we know that people from other armies in other countries, they're already here. I mean, active duty already here. Nothing to see here, right? Yeah, anyway, Charles, really appreciate you, brother.
You as well. You too, sir, and God bless you.
All right, God bless you too.
Goodbye.
All right, well, that was our buddy Charles, the answer machine from Brad Winstrup's office, A lot of stuff going on, and I know these phone calls and stuff like that may seem boring to some people, but if it's boring to you, then that means that you're not informed enough to know the worries that you should be worried about. So anyway, I want to thank Miss Naomi Campbell Marks here for running the camera for me. I want to thank the lovely Amy Snyder for being here. And anyway, there's several of us that's wanting to know and get answers to these problems that I really don't know. It's going to be a while before we can get answers to, how to fix this situation. But call your representatives. The number for that is 202-224-3121. And just pick it up, call the switchboard. It's in D.C. Even if you don't know who your representative is or whatever, call these people and tell them what you want. Tell them you want the border fixed yesterday, and tell them that stop taking their weekends and stuff off, because it's not their weekends, not until after we the people are safe, until we get all these criminals out of here. Anyway, God bless America. God bless you and yours. We're praying for you. Thanks for praying for us. We're praying for all those down there on the border patrol who's actually doing their job, all the National Guards, any of them. It don't make any difference who it is. State Patrol. I didn't know that. Did you guys know that?
No.
So we definitely learned something today. I mean, I did. I didn't know State Patrol was going down there. So God bless them too. If they're going down there and keeping them out. Now, if they're going down there and giving them, a bunch of money and handouts and stuff like that and patting them on the butt and giving them a bus ride on into, and they're trying to make it so that they're voting. And also New York is trying to make it standard to give these invaders $1,000 a month. Did you guys know that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that, Amy?
No, I thought they were giving them 3.
3,000? Well, no, that's when they show up. But now they're
Yeah,
mandatory.
they're getting a stipend monthly.
They're what?
They're getting them a stipend monthly.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, there's something we need to find out. So, love you, Lord. Love you, boss. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. God bless.